Welcome back to Tiffin University Dragon Radio, your monthly look at Tiffin University and Tiffin University athletics, live from the Pioneer Mill Restaurant here in Tiffin, Ohio. Now we're going to take a look at the cross-country programs, and a veteran of these interviews with myself, Mr. Jeremy Croy, join us. Coach Croy, how you doing today, sir?
Fantastic evening.
So we've done this a few times together, haven't we now?
A couple dozen.
Yeah, why don't you introduce your assistant coach with sitting right to your side?
This is Coach Rachel Perry. She's been with us, this will be her second season now, and she comes to us from Otterbein College and was a graduate of Mount Union.
Rachel, thank you for joining us here on the program, and welcome to Dragon Radio.
Thank you for having me.
You helped me out a couple times. I spoke to you before we started the interview at the Heminger Center,
Yes.
but helped me in and out of a couple of buildings and stuff. So thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
All right, Coach Croy, let's talk about the men's and women's cross-country teams. Why don't you give us first just a general look at last year's season, what you lost, what you brought in, and what you got going on.
Well, we've got two teams, the men's team and the women's team. Our men's team, we've lost our top two runners, who were both very competitive in the GLIAC, both all GLIAC performers, and so that'll be tough to fill their spots. But I think we've got the next third, fourth, fifth, sixth guys back. So we'll be in a little rebuilding process up front there. That's a team that finished fifth in the GLIAC out of 16 teams. So we're definitely looking at top half this year, hopefully again in a rebuilding year. On the women's side, we return everybody except our third girl. And so we should be a challenge for hopefully a top four spot in the GLIAC out of 16 teams.
What is when you look back at last year's squad and what you have coming back and what you brought in? What's the next step? What is the next step that needs to be done to be able to move up into the first half of the GLIAC?
We need a little bit more depth, a lot more younger faces, I think, to develop over the years, and also bring in those state champions and some of those All-Americans right off the bat.
Rachel, what do you bring to the program on the coaching side that you feel helps the Dragons in the cross country?
Well, me and Coach Croy, we work together on putting the training plan together. So this year we're taking a different approach to our training program, and we're really focusing on good training, quality training, to help them get better, of course. We have goals for them.
Well, I looked at last year's schedule from the men and the women's side, and it looks like the All-Ohio meet was maybe one of the best finishes you guys had last year. So one of the meets that you guys really put your finger on and say that's one we want to do well at?
Yeah, there's three meets every year that we focus on. The third most important is the All-Ohio Championships. Our women finished runner-up there last year, and that was our best performance in school history, runner-up between Division II and NAIA schools. And that was obviously our best finish ever there. The next most important meet is the GLIAC Championships, and the most important meet of the season then would be the regional championships, which is how you qualify for the national championships. So those are the three meets. We only run 6 meets a year, every other weekend. So the travel's not real. We don't travel a lot. We are traveling to the Upper Peninsula this year, to Wisconsin twice, and then to Pittsburgh once. So we'll only run in Ohio one time out of the 6 weekends. But it's just 3 meets out of the year that really matter.
How do you get this stranglehold that Grand Valley State has on the GLIAC and both the men's and women's away from them? What is it? I believe the women 13 straight and the men 11 straight. How do you get that? How do you take that away from them?
It's
hard work.
It's challenging. They're a state school and have 85 people on their cross country team that are paying roughly $5,000 a piece to go there, so it's just tough to compete with. So it'll take a couple years to get back up there, but they're definitely a force to be reckoned with nationally.
Well, you look at what you've done with the track and field programs. I can't imagine you're not going to do the same thing with the cross country programs. The track and field programs has been fantastic, bringing in some awesome athletes and getting a lot of productivity out of them. So I'm sure the same thing's going to happen with the cross country team. It's just a different ladder to run.
Well, we'll try our best.
If somebody would like some more information on the cross country programs at Tiffin University, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Probably just give me a call. 419-448-3338 is probably the best way to reach me.
Okay, and then you can get more information as well on the cross country men's and women's programs at Tiffin University by going to www.gotiffindragons.com. Well, Coach Croy, Coach Perry, thank you so much for making time out for us here on our Dragon Radio Live program, and best of luck to you here in the fall, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again in the spring program, won't we?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that's Coach Jeremy Croy and Coach Rachel Perry of the Tiffin University men's and women's cross country programs, and I'd like to invite up next, please give them a round of applause, everyone, please. Thank you. And we'd like to invite up Coach Jeremy Croy now, and Coach Phil Conley. We just talked to Coach Jeremy Croy. We'll bring up Phil Conley and one of his athletes as well. And we'll talk about women's and men's tennis here at Tiffin University. Coach Conley, how you doing today, sir?
Good, thanks, Russ.
That's like I said to Coach Croy, we've had a chance to do this quite a few times as well, haven't we?
Yeah, I really enjoy doing this, give a highlight of the season, outlook, and everything like that.
Okay, why don't you introduce your athlete who's sitting beside you?
Here to my right here is assistant coach Luis Carvalho.
All right, Luis Carvalho, does that say that properly?
Yep.
All right, welcome to Tiffin University Dragon Radio, and what's the path that brought you to Tiffin University?
Well, I play here for 4 years. I play for Coach Conley as #1 singles for 4 years. And then he invited me to be assistant coach. And I thought that was a good opportunity to be back and finish my studies and still be around tennis for a little bit.
Are you helping with both the men's and women's teams?
Yes.
Okay, now I believe, if I remember correctly, the women's championship season is the fall, right?
That's right.
Okay, why don't you give us a preview of the women's program you have this year?
I have to say I'm really excited about the season. I say that every year, and each year we've shown improvement. But this year we do not graduate. We did not graduate that many ladies. In fact, we have a couple freshmen coming in with already a very senior team they're gonna make impacts in our lineup. And we went 6-8 in the GLIAC and lost 2 close matches, one to a nationally ranked team within 1 point. So like I said, these 2 girls that are going to come in, make an impact in our lineup. It's going to make we're going to jump leaps and bounds, I believe.
And then with tennis, it seems like there's a lot of underclassmen a lot of times can step right in if they got the ability to do so, as compared to like a football where sometimes you need to get seasoned a little bit. Have you noticed that a lot of times in the tennis side, both men's and women's, that freshmen and sophomores are competing just as much as for juniors and seniors?
Yeah, I've always wanted to mention that actually up here. Many times you see basketball and football, I've noticed that quite often their junior and senior years they start to blossom. But in tennis, it's quite often you'll see these kids come up their freshman year and sophomore year, they'll bloom right then. And, I think it has to do with, like, in those kind of sports, football, they get stronger and stuff like that physically. And in tennis, strength is really not the biggest issue there.
Well, I'm sure one of the things that's really helped you guys out, I know from talking to you in the past, is the Heminger Center. No more hopping in the buses and heading on up to Sandusky. Talk about how much the Heminger Center has helped with not only the improvement of your players, the ongoing improvement of your players, but as well as recruiting.
Oh, gosh. When I bring kids on campus now, I take them to the Heminger Center. I show them our tennis courts, which, if you've not been told, they've been brand new. They're brand new tennis courts. Mm-hmm. And we got seating.
That looks great there with the seating and everything. Now it looks fantastic.
Yeah, when I take a recruit on campus now, they're all smiles. They want to come here. They just, they want to know how they can be part of the program. And I have coming in about 18 kids, coming in between the men's and women's program. My biggest recruiting class, and I'll have to say it's my best recruiting class, and it's because of the Heminger Center and the new tennis courts.
And I'm sure from the productivity of your former tennis players as well, and that's only going to, the better you do is only going to bring in better recruits.
Yeah, absolutely. When you see the results that we've had, my first year coaching, we didn't even get a win on the board, and last year the women going 13 and 11, I believe it was. And the men going 18 and 10. Our records are really showing that we can compete with about anyone.
Well, you spoke to let's touch briefly on the men's program while we have you up here. Men's championship season is the spring season, is that right?
That's right.
But talk a little bit about your men's program, what you got coming on.
I'm really, really excited with the men. We're going to be much younger on the men's side, unlike the women's. So I have a lot of freshmen coming in that I'm really going to have to evaluate to see where they're at, because our first week back, we're going to be testing them in a tournament down in West Virginia. It's a flighted tournament where one singles players play another singles player. It's not an actual dual match, but we're going to be young. Luis here graduated, and he played, like he said, 4 years at #1, so it's going to be hard to replace him.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So we're going to see how we do this year.
Luis, how are they going to replace you after 4 years of being at #1 position? That's big shoes to fill, but you've seen these kids. You've seen how they work. I'm sure somebody that's ready to step in.
Yeah, we're having, I think, 4 guys new that can replace me, and it's not only me. We lost another 3 singles players that were in the lineup last year. It's going to be a little bit hard, but I think we have the talent to overcome this.
Well, tennis is a great game because that's one game that you can take with you the rest of your life. It's a game you can continue playing forever, and it's a great way to stay in shape. And I'm sure you probably miss being on the court a little bit, but it's still fun to be a part of it on the coaching side.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit weird to coach at the beginning. I'll probably want to go inside the court and play instead of coach, but
Well, it's nice to have a racket in his hands to help your other kids get better as well, I'm sure.
Oh, he'll still be playing. So
Yeah.
Either with me or some of the kids. So
Just
he'll
not in
still be out there.
competitive collegiate matches anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, if somebody likes some more information on the women's tennis program or the men's tennis program, what's the easiest way for them to get in touch with you?
Two ways. You can use my email, conleypt@tiffin.edu, or you can just call me in my office, 419-448-3594.
And again, you can get all the information you need on any of the Tiffin University athletics by going to www.gotiffindragons.com. Well, Coach Conley, Lewis, thank you guys so much for taking time out for us here on our live Dragon Radio program, and best of luck this fall, continued success, and we'll talk to you again in the spring, I'm sure.
All right, thank you, Russ.
All right, that's it. Look at our women's tennis programs and the men's tennis programs. We're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, volleyball and women's soccer. All this and more coming your way next. You're listening to Tiffin University Athletics on the Tiffin University Dragon Radio. And welcome back to Tiffin University Dragon Radio, your monthly look at Tiffin University and Tiffin University Athletics. If you'd like more information on Tiffin University, go to www.tiffin.edu. More information on Tiffin University Athletics as well, go to www.gotiffindragons.com. Well, we've talked so far about cross country and tennis. Now it's time to talk a little volleyball. And head coach Dana Cordova sitting beside me. Coach Cordova, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Why don't you introduce your two student athletes sitting to your right?
We have my senior, Bridget Boyle, and one of our new incoming transfers, Chelsea Phillips. We call her Lou. So,
Well, Bridget, Chelsea, or Lou, however you prefer to be called, welcome to the Tiffin University Dragon Radio program. Thanks for taking time out to join us. Appreciate it. Well, let's see. Bridget, you're a senior, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what position you are on the volleyball team, and tell us a little bit about what you do in court.
I'm a right side hitter. I do a lot on the court for the team. I think I'm pretty inspirational to the team. I do a good job with that. Okay, I'm a hitter. I'm the second setter. I don't know what else I do.
All right, well, Chelsea.
Okay, great.
Chelsea, where did you transfer to Tiffin University? What was it that brought you to Tiffin University?
Just going out of state and being a part of of course, the coach.
Oh, yes. That's
Can't forget that.
So you said from out of state. Where'd you come in from?
Arizona.
Okay. And you ended up here at Tiffin, Ohio to play for the Dragons as a volleyball player.
Yep.
Excellent. So you had a chance to work with Coach Cordova a little bit?
A little bit.
All right. And you pretty excited to get, you're eligible to play this year?
Yeah. I'm
All
very
right.
excited.
Well, Coach Cordova, talk a little bit about Bridget and Chelsea, what they bring to your program.
well, Chelsea is an outside hitter, and like Bridget said, she's a right side. Really, what they're bringing us is maturity. Bridget's been in the program. This will be her 4th year. Bridget actually started when I started. So, we've been building the last 2 years, and now we're kind of going to be able to reap the benefits. Of course, with Lou coming from a junior college, they made it to the national tournament last year, so she knows what it takes to win. So really, they're bringing us a lot of experience and leadership.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about some of the other experiences coming back and talk a little bit about what you lost off last year's team.
Well, we actually have 12 returners coming back, and we have 13 incoming players. So we have a pretty good mix of, newbies and oldies is what I like to call them. We lost 2 seniors last year, and we really feel that they helped us with the leadership, but I feel like this is going to be the strongest group I've had in my 4 years. And it's just, I think, they really grew up this spring. I don't know what it was, but this spring we had a really good spring where I think the maturity finally took over, the leadership took over, and we're real excited.
I believe Northwood was the GLIAC champion last year in volleyball, is that right?
Yes, Northwood was, and we played them extremely tough. And we feel, honestly, we feel like we can compete with anybody, but we also could be our worst enemy. So,
Well, what is it that you need to improve to make sure that you are not your worst enemy?
Last year we were in every game, and we just couldn't finish. We would come out to a big lead, and then we'd lose it. And I think now with these girls, we have a really good senior class and it's good senior leadership. If this time they push back, then I think we'll be fine. It's just getting that confidence that, hey, I just got pushed, now it's time to return the push, we'll be okay.
So you're hoping that the kids learned a lot off of the experiences they had last year, and they can maybe turn things around this year and get a little more wins on the board and get you guys up in the upper echelon of the GLIAC this year off of what the last year.
Exactly. And the best teams that we played against, we always played them extremely well. We'd take a game from them, we'd go into extra points with them. It was just, we always played the better teams really well. I think this year, they have nothing to lose. We did a
Is that a good mentality to have on the volleyball court, that nothing to lose attitude?
Yeah, because the thing about volleyball, it's you're going to make mistakes. That's why it's called rally scoring. And it's really the team who's not scared to make those mistakes usually come out on top. And, our girls, you could tell, like, when there wasn't pressure on them, they would do fantastic. And the minute there was pressure on them, they got scared. And this year, I think this spring, we did a fantastic job. We went against some Division I's, and we held our own. And I think the girls realized that, it doesn't matter what the other team has. It's what you have on your court. And you do that, anything's possible at the game of volleyball.
That seems to be one of the resounding messages I hear from different coaches when we do these programs. It's not worrying about what the other team's doing. If you can worry about what you're doing and do what you're set out to do, what you were coached to do, what you practice to do, then everything should fall into place.
Yeah, we're our biggest, our biggest competition's ourselves. And, I'll be happy regardless if we win or lose. All I ask from my girls is that they go out there and they give 110%, and they give it all they've got. And if they make a mistake, they learn from it and they move on. And every game last year, I thought our girls did that. There was 1 or 2 games where I felt they didn't do their best, but the effort was always there, and you can't ask for anything more.
Bridget, you were a part of it last year. You think that girls learned a lot from last year's season, are ready to take that next step forward and improve on last year's campaign?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like Coach said, we had a very good spring season, and we learned a lot from it, and we really built off of how well we did. I think we're going to have a very good season coming up.
And Lou, you're probably excited to jump into the mix here and help these Dragon ladies improve off of last year's season and move up towards the upper half of the GLIAC standings.
Yeah, I'm very excited to bring what I know and try and help out the team.
Well, Lou, thank you for so much for joining us, and welcome to Tiffany University and Dragon Radio. Bridget, back at you. Thank you for joining us as well. And Coach Cordova, if folks would like more information on the volleyball program at Tiffany University, what's the easiest way for them to get that information?
Our website does a fantastic job of showing everything, and my number's there, and you have questions, just holler.
Her name's Dana Cordova. She's the head volleyball coach at Tiffany University, and this is Lou and Bridget, a couple of our athletes. Ladies and gentlemen, the women's volleyball program at Tiffany University. Up next is women's soccer. Thank you, Coach. Up next, we will be talking women's soccer at Tiffany University. Coach Paula Fantini join us. Coach Fantini, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much. Why don't you introduce the two people to your right?
Well, I have Melissa Big, my assistant coach, full-time assistant starting this year, and Juliani Dominguez. She's going to be a junior this coming fall.
Well, Melissa and Juliana, thank you so much for joining us here on Dragon Radio. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the Pioneer Mill.
Thank you for having us.
So tell us a little bit about your soccer team. What you got coming back this year? What's your expectations?
Well, there are a lot of expectations out there. We graduated 8 starters for the varsity team. So it's going to be a very young team. We have, of course, some of the returners, such as Giuliani, who really help, but I'm very excited to see the freshmen coming in.
Well, you guys had a winning overall record last year, a winning record in the GLIAC conference last year, so a good stepping stone to move forward this year. What's the improvements your team needs to make sure that you continue building off of the season you had last year?
Well, I think a big difference from this coming year to the previous years is that we actually are going to have the forwards to get the ball in the back of the net, because we're very good at building, but we couldn't finish it. And that's going to be the big difference from this incoming the incoming freshman class and the girls that are coming back to the girls in the past.
Melissa, what do you do? What's your specialty when you work with your student athletes here in the soccer program?
Usually I'm working with the JV team. I also have a background in conditioning, so I help out a lot with our conditioning.
That's kind of important in soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then when we do team tactical stuff, I usually work with the defense.
Okay, and Juliana, what's your position? What do you play?
I play forward.
Okay, and goal scorer?
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about the offense for the team this year. You said you guys did a good job of building towards getting the ball in the net, but didn't actually finish putting it in the net. What do you think is the difference you can do this year to make sure that more balls end up in the back of the net?
Well, I expect some new players from midfield can help more, so they can serve more for me, so I can score more.
Get it to her, get it on her foot so she can put it in the net, pretty much. So speaking of the net, you got to keep them out of the net too. Talk about what you guys have going on in the net this year.
Well, we have Haley Coppola returning. She's going to be a junior. She had an excellent spring season. We played some D1 schools, and I got a lot of compliments from the coaches from the other universities.
Yeah, well, it's pretty important to have somebody who can keep that ball out of the net. What is your strength? What would you say is the strength on your team? Is it your goalkeeping? Is it your defense? Is your forwards? Where is your strength on the women's program?
Well, I believe that for next year, I'm really looking forward to our strength to be our offensive end.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else you'd like to add here before we let you get back to the party?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I hope to see everyone out watching all of the games. Our first game is September 15th at home, and we're not back until homecoming on October 4th.
Well, your schedule, they didn't do you any favors in September, did they? 1 home game on the 15th and 6 road games. So you're going to learn a lot about your kids that first month of the season, aren't you?
Yeah, I hope that will be 7-0 or 6-1, because in the past we have played better games away than at home. So we should have a good
build some
season.
momentum, and then you have a lot of home. I mean, it's kind of flip-flopped into October with a lot of home games. So build some good momentum on those. Get some road victories, bring it home, and then GLIAC heavy schedule, and build your way towards the GLIAC conference tournament.
Yep.
Well, if somebody likes more information on women's soccer at Tiffin University, what's the best way for them to obtain that?
As Coach Dana Cordova mentioned, just go to our athletics website, and all of our information is there. I'll be more than happy to reply and let everybody know more about the program.
All right, women's soccer head coach Paula Fantini, assistant coach Melissa Big, and athlete Juliana Dominguez, our guest here on Tiffin University Dragon Radio. If you'd like more information on women's soccer, like Coach Fantini said, go tiffindragons.com. Okay, we're going to... Welcome back to Tiffin University Dragon Radio, your monthly look at Tiffin University and Tiffin University athletics, coming to you live from the Pioneer Mill Restaurant right here in Tiffin, Ohio. We've talked about cross country, we talked tennis, we talked volleyball, we talked women's soccer, men's soccer as well, and now let's talk a little football. Coach Gary Goff sitting beside me. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Russ. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. We've done this quite a few times together with the Gary Goff Show as well as Dragon Radio, and we actually came into this stuff together. My first year doing the games is your first year coaching, so it's been a pretty fun ride so far.
It has, and it's fun to see every year both programs and radio program grow and grow and grow. And
absolutely.
Exciting time of the year for us.
Yeah, kids reported today.
Report day. It's good to see the families here. It's good to have this barbecue kickoff luncheon, and we want that family atmosphere here, and this definitely helps set that mood.
Well, a lot of freshmen coming in for their first experience of being a Tiffin University football Dragon. These guys here are experienced football Dragons. Why don't you introduce the two young student athletes to your right?
Well, the old man to my right, not young. he might have more experience than all of us here. I think, are you a 6-year senior now?
Yeah.
But we're
not by
choice,
straight
with compliance, so I promise.
Yes.
Now, this is Gage Gorman. He's going to be our senior offensive lineman. Gage, he's been here for a while.
Well, Gage, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What you studying here at Tiffin University? Well, you're probably working on your doctorate now, but tell us a little bit about where you're from, what's going on.
I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. I played JUCO ball there at Phoenix College, and then I came here about 4 years ago now. And I just finished my undergrad this summer, and that was in business management, and I'm going for my master's in marketing.
Pretty excited with your senior year coming up to get out there on the field and bang some heads, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've heard that twice before already.
I bet. All right, then the other one.
Gage is a great young man. He got injured last year, and we were able to redshirt him. And he was kind of a student coach for us in the spring there and did a great job, but he got carried away with his whistle, so we had to take that back from him.
I think that story rings a bell now, Coach. I think you might have told me that in the spring. That's awesome. How about the gentleman on the end there?
We also got Joe Collard, who's our defensive lineman, who has been a great player in the conference here for 3 years now for us, and we're expecting his senior year to be a great season. And Joe,
introduce yourself to the fans, Joe.
Basically, I'm from Bering Springs, Michigan. I came here almost 4 years ago. Gage was a junior when I came here.
Yeah,
now we're both seniors.
It was my first year here, and he was a freshman. I remember him coming in, and now we're seniors together. It's been a great ride.
But basically, nothing about me. I'm majoring in marketing. I'll be graduating in the spring.
All right, and Coach, a couple of guys you really lean on this year, I'm sure, for that senior experience.
Yeah, I think our offense and defense line are two of our deepest positions going into the season. And, that's where the game starts up front. Doesn't care what you run on offense or defense. So we expect a lot out of these young men, and we're very excited about the hard work they put in the last several years. And, they're going to be the cornerstone of this program, helping us turn the corner.
Speaking of hard work, everybody reports today the hard work begins, tomorrow?
Starts tomorrow. Tomorrow we get to get into X's and O's and start practice and have meetings and move forward. And I tell you what, we've been waiting for this day for quite some time.
Yeah.
We ended the season on a high note with a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz in the program. And again, as the guys came in today with their families, there's still a lot of excitement. Everybody's very encouraged and excited where we're going with this program. So we can't wait until tomorrow.
Well, think about the program, Coach, where it was at the moment you stepped into the campus and took the job to where it is now. Not only is there more wins on the board than when you got here, but the quality of players that you have here, not only athletic-wise, but character-wise, has really changed the corner in this program as well.
Well, it's building a building process for sure, and we're nowhere near where we want to be. But we have seen a lot of good things happen within the program, and a lot of it has to do with the young men we're recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
We got great character young men that are in this program now. They're doing the right thing on and off the field, and I got a great staff with a bunch of good people that care about these young men on and off the field. So, we're laying the foundation for a great program that's not going to win just once in a while, that's going to win a lot of games and for a long time. So, that's what it's all about, doing things the right way. And, these two guys sitting beside me have paid their dues. They've been here for quite some time and seen the ups and downs of the program. So I tell them every year to start the season, this is their team. It's a seniors team. It's their last year, and we're going to try to send them out with a lot of wins.
Well, speaking of wins, maybe get the first weekend in September where you go to McHenry University. I believe it's just south of St. Louis, Missouri.
Right.
And how important is it going to be for your kids, not only kids coming back, but the kids who are coming in to get that first W that first week of the regular season?
Well, it's very important. Obviously, our games last year, we won all the games at home. The 3 wins were at home. So we got to take the next step in the program and learn how to travel and play good on the road and come back with some wins, And, that's just the next step of a young program. But, I'm excited because we got 16 returning starters, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. We've added some really good players to the program in this last recruiting class. So, hopefully we're getting older in the program. We got a lot more experience, and we can start doing some things like that, winning on the road. That's going to be a big test for us right off the bat.
You not only have some new faces coming in on the player side, but you brought some new coaches in this year as well, too.
Yeah, we had 2 coaches. Again, one got out of coach, and the other one got a promotion. But we were able to bring in Glenn Schoitzo as our new defensive line coach, who was at Ohio Northern for quite some time. And then Dave Bakar as our offensive line coach, and he was at the University of Pittsburgh for a little while. So, again, 2 great pickups for me. They're good people. They're great recruiters. They work really hard. So, I think we might have gotten better right there, to be honest.
Well, that's why you have there, right?
Exactly right.
Surround yourself with smart people.
Exactly.
Well, Gage, Joe, you guys have been here around for a little while. What do you guys think the team needs to do improvement-wise here over the next month before that first game to take that next step forward? It's your last year here in the program, on that football field wearing the Dragon uniform. What do you guys feel is the next step the team needs to make from a player standpoint to make sure your senior year is a productive one?
It's definitely just learning how to finish. We've had a lot of close games in the fourth, especially Ashland. They were ready to be beat.
Yeah.
It's all about who comes to play that day, and especially for these guys. We've grown our team. As you see, Wayne State, when they went to the finals, they had 25 redshirt seniors. I mean, they have a lot of people, and I think for us it's maturity and getting these young guys in some reps and stuff during camp. We'll be ready for game day.
Engage, when you look at it from a senior viewpoint as well, look at these younger kids. You feel like it's your job as a senior to set the tone and set the pace out there in the practice field and how hard these kids got to work?
Absolutely. I feel as a senior that they all would look up to us and all the upperclassmen. It's a tough transition coming from high school into a program like this, and I think with our leadership they can do well in this program.
Yeah, the schedule you guys play is a bear. It's no high school football schedule. That's for darn sure. That's a big step up from. Doesn't matter what level you played in high school. You step into that GLIAC schedule, and it's going from boys to men. That's for sure, for darn sure. Coach, you know that as well as anybody.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, it's a great opportunity every week. We're going to play 2 or 3 ranked teams this year. We will every year, just because of our conference. But it's a lot of fun to go out there and play a top-ranked Grand Valley or Ashland or whoever it is, because that gives us an opportunity for a big upset and kind of make our mark on the program ourselves. So, it's a tough conference. Guess what? It's not going to change.
No.
So we got to catch up with the Joneses, if you know what I mean.
You want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Exactly, and I really think we're going down that path, and we're very excited. We're working hard in all areas, not only in the football program, but our entire athletic department, I think,
absolutely
is growing and being very competitive in this conference. So, hey, the sky's the limit for us. There's no shortcuts to the top, and hey, let's go out there and play some top-ranked teams and see where we fall.
Well, Joe mentioned it, the finishing aspect. There's quite a few games last year that we were right there to maybe one mistake, like a turnover or something happened. It seemed to snowball a little bit and get away from you before you're able to get it back together. And that's part of the growing process on the Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that right there shows you a sign of a young football team, maybe an immature football team. You don't know how to finish. You don't know how important that one drive might be. You don't know how important that one turnover that we either made or didn't make might or might not be. So, I think if you look back and see some of the better teams in our conference or around the nation, you see teams that know how to finish. They know how to capitalize on another opponent's error or mistake.
Yep.
So, we're going to get there, and that's you can't replace game experience. And,
absolutely.
Right now, the good thing is we got a lot of young guys with a lot of talent that have had a lot of reps. So.
Well, yeah. So it's experience is going to build character, and character is going to turn into leaders, and leaders are going to help groom these underclassmen into becoming full-grown men and football players for your Dragons, and be productive football players for you. Last year was a strange year as well. Not only with what we talked about with some goofy things happening, but 3 season-ending injuries in one half. And then the game with hail covering the field when we had to leave the field, which ended up resulting in a double overtime loss. Which that game, I think if the hail doesn't come in, we win that game in regulation. So lots of goofy things happen, and you got to put that behind you and move forward with into this season. And I'm excited, Coach. I can't wait.
Yeah, going back to the last season, I think you have to be prepared for everything in this conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a learning process. We're very excited about this coming season. We got a lot of hard work ahead of us in the next 3.5 weeks. But that's what camp's for, and we're gonna get after it and find out who's going to be the starters in different places to add to those 16 returning starters. So we're excited. Hey, this is why we recruit, bring in our new toys, our new prospects, and get to play.
Sorry to bring up that painful memory for you there. I apologize.
You saw him Grinch over here,
Yeah. Hey, what a fun bus ride home and the law got involved. That was an interesting time.
That's a whole nother story right there.
Well, guys, I think we're out of time. Is that right? So, Coach Goff, thank you so much for joining us. Gage and Joe, thank you guys so much for joining us. Best of luck this year, not only to the football program, but to all of our fall sports programs who joined us here on our Tiffin University Dragon Radio Live, coming to you from the Pioneer Mill Restaurant here in Tiffin. Everyone give our fall sports athletes a round of applause. Tonight's program has been brought to you by Seneca Hills Golf Course, State Farm Insurance at Lapes Office, Steyr Seeds, Viewpoint Graphics, Tiffin Ace Hardware, the Animal Hospital, CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office, Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, Pioneer Mill Restaurant here in Tiffin, and Ralph's Joy Living in Tiffin and Fremont. More information on Tiffin University, tiffin.edu. More information on athletics, go TiffinDragons.com. Have a great night, everybody, and go Dragons!